Hey, okay, got a question in our mastermind chat from Airwing Marine. Let's take a look. A current issue I'm struggling with a decision on, I've definitely been discussed with Devin before, is creating a new channel for separate games. Currently, we make Escape from Tarkov content only on my YouTube channel using my alias. I'm going to start creating content for New World here shortly, as well as BF 2042, and is a game I enjoy along with Tarkov content. So my question is, do I create different channels for this content? Each game has its own channel, use my main channel to push interested folks to this channel, or is it possible to build and upload a content strategy that allows us to do it under one channel? Or am I to put the cart in front of the horse? I shouldn't even be thinking about this because I'm barely over 40K subs on my main channel. All right. So we're going to talk about multiple channels versus single channels today, and I'm going to find some ways to tie it back into the business. So let's talk about multiple versus single channels. Okay. Multiple channels versus single channels. The absolute first question you want to ask yourself is, what work am I doing now? So how much am I uploading to my main channel? And if the answer isn't greater than 3x per week, don't create a new channel. Why is this? Well, I'll give you an example of why this is by using an example of Novo. So right now at Novo, we have a thing called RFPs. RFPs are requests for proposals. The way that we do creative work for people is we send a proposal to a brand and we say, here's the kind of work we'll do, here's the influencers we'll use, etc. Right? So every one of those proposals has a little bit of a creative thing attached to it. So like imagine that like a proposal is going out to a brand like Coca-Cola, just making this up. They're going to come back and say, okay, we have this kind of budget. What can you do for us? And we'll have to design some kind of creative campaign that's cool for them, like a show or an event or something like that. Currently, that creative process could be delegated. I could hire out for it, and I could give it to someone else who's called a domain expert, and I could give that person that job of doing that creative, and then I'd pay them either per RFP or a couple $1,000s a month or something to do that. Okay, but I do it myself. Why? Because it only takes me a few hours a week, and I'm not over my head on it. Way too many people that are in businesses and way too many people in funded companies, this is a notorious for this, to have this kind of money or very high ROI and margin on products. What they'll do is they will basically hire out and delegate for a problem that is not a full-time job. And this is why you see 6,000 people sitting at Twitch doing nothing, because as soon as there's like a perceived problem, like, oh, we need to hire for that. Like we need more of that. Right. Especially if you can kind of justify it in budget, but you're not really thinking it through. So you have to first examine the quantity and the quality of the work that you're doing. This is true for some, like this whole analogy is going to be for multiple channel versus single channel, but also for like hiring people or delegating people, because I always want to add business value in these talks as well as not just for content creators. So quantity wise, right? Do you have that 3x? Quality wise, are you introspective? Are you taking the time to go back, analyze your growth, change your thumbnails, make your decisions, right? Are you uploading 3x per videos per week that are not just dog shit, but quality? Are you doing that, right? So if you're doing that, then you're taking the time and you feel like your channel is growing and you feel like you can keep that up if you add another channel, okay? Then we start looking at the benefits of multiple channels. And the benefits of multiple channels are generally subscribers will consume content about the things they're interested in. Okay, so I had this debate on the Devin Nash channel where I love lifestyle and self-improvement content. It's my favorite thing to talk about. But it doesn't do that well on the Devin Nash channel because the Devin Nash channel is like a marketing / like business / like finance / like digital media Twitch type of thing. And if I put like pure information on that channel about self-improvement, like how to lose weight or something like that, it wouldn't do well. So I always want to create like a second channel, like called Devin Nash Lifestyle or something, and make that channel about that. But I would look at my YouTube channel. I was like, man, I'm uploading like one video a week here, right? Like obviously I have not committed to the degree that I should be. And so I don't deserve that second channel because I'm just not putting the work in. Like the Devin Nash YouTube channel produces results, right? It has over 100,000 subscribers. Like 3 videos a week on that channel will produce results, but I haven't justified creating a second channel because I can't even maintain one. And way too many content creators fall into this trap where you want a Twitter, you want a TikTok, you want 7 Twitch channels, you want a Trovo, you want a Brime, you want 5 YouTube channels, you want an ASMR channel, you want a separate webcam for your dog that streams live on Instagram. And it's this diversification concept that a lot of content creators talk about. Even I talk about diversification, but I talk about it in the context of focusing. Generally, I say like you should be focusing on platforms, right? I think it's good to diversify into like 5 or 6 different platforms, and then see which ones are overperforming and just drop the other ones, right? So, for example, I diversified into TikTok. I did terrible on it. Nobody ever talks about it. I was the Hey You Kids guy, like, hey, you want to learn about finance? Here's 5 separate tips to save money in 2020. It was horrible, right? Like, that's not my genre. That's not the kind of audience that I can talk to. So I stopped doing it, right? I didn't keep like hammering those nails down. But then I noticed I was overperforming on YouTube, and then I kept doing that. And I know I could overperform on things like LinkedIn, right? So focus is really important. Generally speaking, if you've met all the above qualifiers, then multiple channels are a really good idea. And I'll give you an idea as to why. So my dear friend, Jeremy, runs Gaming Curios. Gaming Curios is like the coolest thing on YouTube. You will find his channels all over the place. So here's one for Apex Legends, right? We'll go in there with his, just like casually hanging out with the 286K subscribers. We'll go to Minecraft Curios, right? Blam. There's his Minecraft channel, 336K subscribers. We'll go to I don't know, Valorant. There it is, 223. Overwatch, right? We just go again. You can realize I could keep doing this. Probably do this. This will be a whole video if I kept going through all these, right? He's amazing. So he creates separate channels, and part of this is because of his monetization and management style, which you can look at in a video called 700 million views. Devin. Nash? Hey, okay. And this video here, how he got 700 million views without making any videos, is a video with me and Jeremy going over this whole subject for 4 hours, and it's phenomenal. It's really, really good. So check that out if you want to learn more about how Jeremy thinks about things. By far, the person that I respect the most in content creation industry on YouTube. Like, just unbelievable, freaking awesome guy. Also very good, like very like ethical and like really good person. Very hard to find in the content industry. I really like this guy. So I can't recommend him enough for his strategy. He also hangs out in the Discord when he's lucky enough to stop by. He's quite busy, but when he does, it's amazing. Every time he just posts these like paragraph long like things that just change my entire mindset about YouTube. Anyway, enough showing Jeremy, but yeah, like this strategy begets the reason he's doing this is because those people that subscribe to those gaming channels are going to be much more willing to get that kind of content from him because he's creating so here's the really big thing. So is creating about the game versus about the influencer. So if you're Ludwig, you can do multiple, you could probably play Battlefield, whatever the other 2 games that you mentioned on this YouTube channel. You can do that because this YouTube channel is about Ludwig. But you'll notice that so he's, for example, has I think a Jump King video here pretty recently. He diversifies. Like, he can go through his chess, right? So he can play multiple different games on this channel because this is about him, right? But you'll also notice that like he has to structure most of it. This is not purely a gaming channel. And you'll find very few influencers who can do this that are purely gaming channels, because you have to make the content about you, the influencer. And this requires a certain content strategy. If you've made the content about the game and you're planning to do game content, it is much less, for example, like a guide or like you're a voiceover or you're playing a game, it is much, much more difficult to make a single channel that works. It can work, and that's to answer that question that Airwing had, which is it possible to build an upload and content strategy that allows you to do it all under one channel? Yes. The answer to that is yes, if you make it about the influencer. If you yourself are the star, right? But like you got to realize how hard that is. Like, for example, with the Devin Nash channel, like I could be wrong on this, and maybe I'll get to this point at some point. But right now, I don't think that like the Devin Nash person is like the reason people watch. I think it's the subject matter, the authority, and that sort of thing. I haven't made the Devin Nash channel about the influencer. Now, I've made it about the industry. And it's a hard thing to do, to become about an influencer. You have to sacrifice a lot. Like, you have to do stuff like Ludwig does. Another good example of this is Pokimane, right? Like, where Pokimane has made her channel about the influencer, but she's still heavily reliant on things like Fortnite and things like that, even to this day. So we can like take a look at her, and you'll see that she's doing a lot of different content other than gaming, such as room tours, unban requests. These are all things that are like whether you go down here, it's like Among Us and Fortnite, things like that, right? So she's like relying like heavily on those, and she has to like play within like a certain field. So you won't necessarily be able to. Like, I just want you to understand, like, if you are going to go for like the I'm the influencer route, this is extremely freaking difficult. You have to be an unbelievable entertainer, and you have to be so good that you can take people through different experiences. They won't care what the game is or the subject matter is. They just care about you. That's hard as hell to do. I'm not entertaining enough to do that. No shot, right? I have to provide an intense amount of value. So it's an individual evaluation. But if you're going to create stuff about games individually, and you could get away with that, well, okay. I mean, then it's pretty reasonable to consider making multiple channels as long as you can do the upkeep, and that's something that you can work with. That's kind of just the individual valuation based on the aforementioned like stuff that's on the table, right? So those are some of the concepts I consider. Let me see what else you're doing. Obviously, like every one of these things is individual. It depends on so many different variables. It so happens that Airwing Marine is in queue right now for consulting with me, so I think I'll be able to provide him more value here. I'm just trying to provide general value on this about what he should think about making new channels versus not. The most valuable lesson to everybody here would probably be you should never ever consider making another social media account, another channel, another anything until you have focused on your main primary funnel. If you don't understand funnels, go look at the video that I posted on funnels. And the only time you should make another channel is if you are reasonably sure, or you can reasonably expect that might be an overperforming channel for you. So, for example, one of the best things I could do right now is create LinkedIn content. Right, I'm reasonably sure that LinkedIn is going to overperform. I've seen people who create content like me in that sector do unbelievably well, and also my initial test into LinkedIn, including like doing a few video links, talking about some issues in the industry, write a few articles, right? I've done like just a couple of tests in there, have all been enormously positive. So I can reasonably expect that I could branch out into LinkedIn. And that's how I make that evaluation. I'm telling you about how I internalize that valuation so you can think about this for your own stuff. But I will not make that expansion until I'm sure. The reason I haven't made that, like, well, Devin, why haven't you been on LinkedIn? Because I'm building, number one, a paid funnel, which is Patreon, right? And that's been a focus of how do I provide value there. And I need to make sure that I can consistently upload here to Patreon before I do anything in another place. And simultaneously, I'm also trying to consistently update to my YouTube. Like I need to try to do 2 to 3 videos. I don't really have a number, but like I want to get around that point. And make sure that I hit those KPIs before that I can expand it there. And like lo and behold, in a couple of months, if I've stayed consistent with 3-ish videos every week on the YouTube, and I'm staying consistent with my Patreon content, then I will expand into LinkedIn, but not before then. Even though I know it could be very valuable. So these are some of the ways that I think about this decision making to make a proper decision. I would rather like educate you on the thought process of how to go through it than I would like actually tell you like an answer. Because like it's your job as a business person to like think about this and think about how you should expand. For people that are hiring or people that are looking at this from like a business perspective, non-content creation, just think about all these same decision making issues when you're hiring. So like I'll say, okay, do I need a creative person? Well, right now it takes me about 3 to 4 hours to do creative. It's not miserable for me to do the process, and it's cool. So no, not right now. If it was taking 20 hours of my time and I could reasonably build that time out against an opportunity cost that would make the company more money, well, then I got to start looking at a creative, and I got to look at something like part-time or full-time or whatever. Those are the assessments I make when I'm hiring. There's an exception to that rule, which is like there are some skills I cannot do, right? Like some technical stuff or like sales, for example, which is like a core component of any company, where it's like I'm always hiring sales because I always know that I need to get that's like a primary core like function of our business. So I need to be always looking for that. So how long is this? Okay, 14 minutes. That's a short Devin video, but hopefully this kind of answers the question. And, if you have more specific questions, if anyone has more specific questions on this topic, like we can just go over it and I'll make another one of these. But hope this helps. Okay, bye.